All right, we are recording. So welcome everyone. This is the online MCS, MCS-DS admissions webinar for potential applicants to the program. The way we're going to run the session is we'll do a quick round of introductions of all the panelists online today. And then we do have a short slide deck that goes over admission requirements briefly. For those of you who have registered, you should have gotten a video, an admissions video that goes over the details that are of the requirements for admission. So hopefully you are able to review that prior to this session. If not, you can go ahead and please review that after the fact. That will answer many of the detailed questions people have. Once we go through the slide deck, we'll open it up for Q&A. So let me go ahead and let's just do some introductions, starting with John, and then Lisa, Vivica, Desiree, and then I will go last.
Great, thanks, Christine. Hey, my name's John Hart. I'm connecting from my home office. My dog's name is Molly, and you might hear her barking in the background. I'm not quarantined. I just happen to be working from home this morning. I am a professor in computer science. I teach computer graphics, data visualization on the online platform, and I'm also the computer science director of online programs.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Lisa Jagoda. I'm one of the academic advisors for the online MCS and MCS-DS program.
Hello, my name is Viveka Kudaligam. I'm the Assistant Director for Computer Science Graduate Programs, and I am joining from our offices in Computer Science Department.
Hi, I'm Desiree Merman. I am one of the academic advisors for the online MCS and MCS-DS program.
And my name is Christine Martinez. I am one of the online academic advisors for the program and also the coordinator of the online program now. And I am also connecting from home, but like John, I am not quarantined. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my desktop. See here. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, great.
And Christine, real quick before we begin, just wanted to mention that if they have questions, they should put them in the Q&A and not in the chat box.
Perfect. Yes, thanks for that reminder, Desiree. Okay, so again, this is the online MCS, MCS-DS admissions webinar. We're just going to go through the slides here fairly quickly, and then we can move on to Q&A. The first slide. Welcome, thanks for joining us. So the topics we're covering today will be application requirements for both for domestic and international students. We'll briefly go over tuition and financial aid. We'll go over some FAQs, the application deadlines, and where to find information. Next slide. What are we looking for? So John, can you speak to this one?
You bet. Thanks, Christine. So this is a Master of Computer Science program. You get the Master of Computer Science from the Department of Computer Science at the University of Illinois. It's a well-established degree in computer science from one of the top 5 programs in the world. And in order to enter this program, we're looking for students that are interested in the professional practice of computer science and also in computer science as it relates to the data sciences. Our program is multidisciplinary, but it will require significant programming, computer programming. So we want to make sure that students entering the program have the right prerequisites to be able to succeed in graduate level courses in computer science. In order to apply and be admitted, students will have to have a bachelor's degree, but that bachelor's degree does not need to be in computing. But if you do have a bachelor's degree that's not in computer science, computer engineering, or some computing related area, we need to make sure you have the right prerequisites. And those prerequisites include a course on data structures, which is usually a second or third semester course in computer science after you learn the program. Also a course in object-oriented design, object-oriented programming in a production language like Java or C++, and general knowledge of algorithms that you often get from the data structures class or an object-oriented programming class, so that you can understand how the space constraints and run times for an algorithm, even as they scale up to operate on big data. How fast will a program run when you're running it on 1 billion items? We also need students to be familiar with linear algebra, the use of matrices, solving linear systems, and some basic statistics and probability. We will look at the entire application in a holistic review, but we do have certain GPA requirements. We require a GPA of 3.2, but because we evaluate the application holistically, that GPA will be your bachelor's degree GPA. It can be the GPA from the last 2 years of your bachelor's degree. It can be the GPA of your computer science coursework. And we will also consider the GPA of any subsequent coursework. So if you have a bachelor's degree that has a GPA less than 3.2, but you've taken some follow-on, say some senior level computer science courses that you did quite well in, we will, later on at, for example, a community college or a nearby four-year institution, we'll take a look at those courses as well, and the GPA from them in the evaluation of the GPA. I think that's it for what we were looking for in general.
Okay. Next slide, we'll go into programming ability.
Great. So the key prerequisite for all of our graduate level courses is a strong understanding of computer science and in particular data structures. We found that most of our students entering have had a programming course in C++ and Java. Almost everybody has had experience programming in Python. But what we need is proficiency in data structures, understanding how to work with linked lists, tree structures, balancing tree structures, hash tables, a variety of the data structures that are used in libraries and upper division courses on computer science and data science. To that end, we have some students that have all of the qualifications but don't have that particular data structures course. And so what we have done is we've developed a specialization sequence that students can take. It's the Accelerated CS Fundamentals specialization. It's 3 MOOCs, and that is designed to prepare students for a proficiency exam in data structures. And we will look at that proficiency exam and adequate performance in that proficiency exam at the level of B+ or better as completing the prerequisite of data structures for the program. You'd still need, that data structures also includes algorithms and object-oriented programming, but you'd still need some background in programming and in linear algebra and statistics and probability. And there's some information there on how to take the exam. And so if you take that exam and pass that exam, you can include that information in your application packet, and we will consider that along with the with everything else in the application packet. Passing that exam does not guarantee you would be admitted to the program, but it does help us determine your data structures proficiency.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next slide. This goes over the application requirements.
Oh, back up one.
There we go.
Okay. So applications, we require an application fee at $70 for domestic students, $90 for international students. That application fee has to be paid before we can examine your application. Again, we do a holistic evaluation of all of our applicants. We look at the entire application. We also do background checks. We have to make sure that the GPA you submit is at the appropriate scale. And often we get GPAs from multiple institutions for the same student, and we have to go through and average that, and we have to check all the other things. So it's important to pay that application fee. If you are a domestic underrepresented minority student, then there are procedures that can allow you to waive that application fee, but that's only available to domestic underrepresented minority students. You can submit letters of recommendation, up to 3 letters of recommendation. These are not required. And we'll read the letters of recommendation, but they really only have an impact if they're going to address any deficiencies in prerequisites. And again, it's a difficult process to use a letter of recommendation to overcome a deficiency in a prerequisite. But for example, if you've worked as a software engineer for many years and you have a manager that can speak directly to your use of data structures and algorithmic analysis in your software engineering, then that could be considered. It's always good to have a statement of purpose and a CV or a resume. And you don't have to have official transcripts at the time of application, but we will need your official transcripts in the first semester of enrollment. You can include results from the GRE or other standardized tests, but those are not required for the program. If you have them, then you should include them, but if you don't have them, don't let those hold you up.
Okay. Next slide is additional requirements for international students. John, do you want to do that, or Vivica?
I'll let Vivica do this one.
So yeah, this is for international applicants. And when we say international applicants, it really goes back to where your educational qualifications might come from. In our student pool, we see students who have had their early educations outside the US, but they may now be either permanent residents or citizens, but the graduate college will look at your educational record. So if you are either an international student who is currently residing outside the US, or if your educational qualifications are from outside the US, please do take a look at the requirements. And you can see there is a website, there's a URL provided on this slide where you can go to the graduate college website and check what the requirements are for your country where you had the educational qualifications from. It lists whether TOEFL or IELTS scores are needed. And if you do have to submit those scores, then the requirement is for TOEFL IBT, the total score is 103 or above. And then for CBT, it is greater than 253, and for PBT, greater than 610. You can also provide IELTS scores, and those have to be, the overall score has to be greater than 7.0. In both cases, the scores must be less than 2 years old from the date that you plan to start the semester, not at the time that you apply. So if you're applying for the fall 2020 semester, which we start in August, you would have had to taken the tests sometime after August of 2018, within the 2-year framework. There are some exemptions for students who need to submit these scores based on your academic and employment history. For example, if you have earned a degree within the past 5 years from one of the countries that are exempt, and this includes US, for example, countries like Australia or Canada in the English-speaking part of Canada, and England, then those degrees will give you an exemption from having to submit the scores. If you have 2 years, at least 2 years of work experience in one of the eligible countries, that will also give you an exemption from scores. But if you're using your employment history, then the department would require you to have that documentation submitted directly. And all this information is available on our website. And there is a link on this slide deck that Christine will share. You can go and see the details of how the exemptions can be sought. I think, Christine, we can move on to the next slide.
Okay. Next slide goes over tuition and financial aid.
So let me start on this one. The tuition for the MCS degree, including the data sciences track, and it's up to you if you want to pursue the data science track of courses that satisfies the MCS degree, or if you just want to pursue the MCS itself. Either way, the courses are charged at $670 per credit hour. The MCS consists of 8 courses. Each course is 4 credit hours. So that's a total of 21,440 for the complete 32-hour degree. And that's charged per credit hour. So if you need a semester off, you don't have to pay anything. If you're on campus, you would still have to pay like $1,000. But because you're taking this online, we only charge you for the courses you take when you take them. We do require students to take at least one course in a calendar year, a 12-month year. And if you do need to skip a semester, work, family obligations, please do let us know, because we want to keep track of all of our students, make sure all of our students are making good progress towards the degree. In addition to that 21,440, there are additional costs. Some of those are fees for proctoring. We want to make sure that students are all evaluated on their coursework appropriately and fairly, and so we have an online proctoring service, and the student pays the proctor directly. It's kind of like an Uber service for proctoring. That's typically $40, $50, $60 per course. And you may also, we have Amazon Web Services credits. Some of our courses, you'll be using Amazon or Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure cloud programming services. And so some of those have fees associated with those. We have credits for students, but in many cases, students will want to do additional work on the platform. And so you may want to pay additional credits for that. And as with all of our courses, sometimes there may be books or other materials you need to purchase for completing the course. That's typically a couple $100 per course. It's easy to complete this degree in under $25,000, and it's more than twice that to complete that degree on campus. The big benefit is that if you complete the degree online, you can do it while continuing to work a full-time job if necessary. You may have family obligations, be a caregiver. It allows you to continue to do that. If you factor in the loss of income for a year studying for the MCS full-time, this becomes a much more affordable option. The MCS degree is fully accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, the same accrediting agency that accredits all of our degrees at the University of Illinois online and on campus. Because of that accreditation, the degree is eligible for any financial aid you may want to pursue, including federal financial aid from in the United States, or financial aid available from your own home governments or employers. And you can contact our financial aid offices to find further information on what might be available to you. Vivica, do you want to talk about sponsored third-party billing?
Correct. Yes, happy to. So several of our students, for example, have their employers supporting them to complete this degree program. So one of the options, if you are in that situation, is to have your employer be directly billed instead of you being billed and then having to make some reimbursement arrangements. So if you think, or if you know that your employer is going to be supporting your educational plans, there is a way for them to be directly billed, and that information is again provided on our university's financial aid office. There's a little bit of early work that has to be done, so because the employer has to be approved and connected to your student account for them to be directly billed. If you are interested in knowing more about this option, you can go to the website that's again on the slide deck, and that will be shared with you. Or if you have any other questions, please feel free to write to us and we can point you to the right direction. Once that arrangement is put in place, then for that semester your employer is going to be directly billed, and you will only see the accounts being billed, but you will not have to take action to pay the bill yourself. This is a very convenient way if these arrangements are available for you. And this is not on the slide deck but there is also a way for students who are paying out of pocket to sign up for a payment plan. Each term you can pay in 3 to 4 installments depending on when you sign up for the plan. And that again, that information is also available on the financial aid website, and we can provide that. That link might be on the next slide. Christine, we can move on.
Okay, great. Okay, so next few slides are going to go over FAQs. So John, I'll just call out the questions if you and Vivica want to answer them.
Okay.
Okay. So first couple questions. What is the online MCS and what specifically is MCS-DS?
I'm glad you asked that. So the online MCS is the Master of Computer Science degree. We have an on-campus Master of Computer Science degree, and we have the online Master of Computer Science degree. Some of our on-campus students take online classes as part of their on-campus curriculum as well. It's the same degree. All of our courses are taught by the same instructors, whether they're online or on campus, and all the courses have to meet the exact same approval requirements. They have to cover the same material. They have to be taught at the same level. So there's really no difference between the degrees. The next question will be what will appear on the diploma and transcript. The word online doesn't appear because online is just a delivery option for the courses. The programs are identical and they result in the exact same degree. The MCS-DS is a subset of classes that focus on data sciences that allow you to complete the Master of Computer Science. These data science courses have been chosen so that they fulfill the requirements of the Master of Computer Science, but they do so with classes focusing on data science. And so those classes include courses on machine learning, on data mining, on data visualization, and on cloud computing. And in addition to that, we have some advanced coursework in the information sciences and statistics that can be used. And that's a well-respected distinction of the MCS that employers are looking for when they want professionals in the data sciences. In particular, you will be a professional in the data sciences that not only understand how to use software and tools in the data sciences, you can develop your own software and tools for the data sciences. You can build your own scientific instruments for data science, and that gives you a leg up over others that may be getting a data science degree in the information sciences or in statistics or in business that don't give you the ability to build those new tools in the data sciences.
Okay. Next question. Is the online MCS course offered, how is the online MCS offered using the Coursera MOOC platform? And then can you go ahead and talk about how these courses are different than the typical Coursera MOOC?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. So the University of Illinois does not confer university degree credit from a Coursera MOOC. A MOOC is a massively open online course. The University of Illinois has a large variety of these courses and specialization programs, specialization sequences, and those are designed as an educational opportunity for learning that the University of Illinois makes available to the general public. What we have is that we use that same platform that's been proven to work at scale with tens of thousands of students. We use that platform also for our online MCS degree students. In order to get access to those courses, those are private courses that are only available to our enrolled and registered students enrolled in the MCS program, registered for the course. That gives you access to a private version of the course. That course is the lectures from that course, and some of the weekly exercises, the quizzes, are available through that MOOC format. But in addition to what would be available through a general MOOC, we also have additional homeworks, proctored exams, machine problems, which is what Illinois calls programming projects, a lot of advanced material. So taking a MOOC, the same lectures, the same quizzes that you would be taking in a 4-credit class might be available as a pair of MOOCs on the public platform. And that would be equivalent to sitting in on a class. If you're on campus, you can join a class and just sit in on the class. And that gives you access to the lectures, maybe some weekly exercises, but doesn't give you access to the programming projects and all the grading and staff help that a formal enrolling in a class would do. That's also the difference between taking a Coursera MOOC open to the general public or enrolling in one of our private MOOCs that contains the same lectures, the same quizzes, but also that additional assessments and staff graded assignments, staff help, office hours, and other assistance.
Okay. Next question. Do the 2 Coursera MOOC courses and 4-credit portion need to be taken concurrently?
No. So some of our courses are available to the general public as MOOCs. Usually we have a single course and that will be available to the general public as 2, maybe 3 MOOCs. You can always take those MOOCs in advance. In some cases, your work on the quizzes will transfer over. In some cases it won't. You'll have seen the lectures, but some lectures may have changed. We always recommend that students learning is best facilitated when you're seeing the lectures at the same time you're being assessed on the material. Our private courses condense all of those lectures from the multiple MOOCs and the quizzes and so on into a single larger private MOOC that runs over the course of a semester. And that's the best way to learn the material. But if you want to, if we want to start looking at a course in advance, you want to see what the course is about, maybe you want to make sure you can keep up with the course, then by all means, take a look at our Coursera MOOCs in advance of that. One other thing is, as an enrolled University of Illinois student, you have full access to university facilities. We have a library that gives you online access to every technical journal and conference proceedings in computing and other areas. That also gives you full free access to all University of Illinois MOOCs. So you can see other MOOCs, not just in computer science, but the many other MOOCs that we offer in engineering, humanities, and other areas of the university as well.
Okay, next question. I completed a Coursera specialization. Will I earn graduate credit at the University of Illinois?
Nope. The University of Illinois does not confer any degree credit, graduate credit or otherwise, for any general open to the public MOOC or completing a specialization. In fact, if you take the accelerated CS fundamentals MOOCs, that's designed to be similar to our CS 225 data structures class. You don't get credit for that. You don't get a degree credit for that, but that does prepare you for a proficiency exam that allows you to basically test out of data structures if you don't have data structures before, but that does not give you any university credit. You do get university credit for completing the private courses that we host on the Coursera platform that are only available to enrolled and registered students in the program.
Okay, moving on. So just a continuation of the FAQs. Next question. Are students expected to be proficient in a particular programming language?
So almost everybody knows Python. Some students know JavaScript. The 2 classes I'm teaching, the programming languages for both of those is JavaScript now. But for many of the other classes, students may need to learn C++. They may need to use Java or a production programming language. So it's good to be familiar with C++ or Java in a compiled environment for production software engineering. Because the class may require that. As a graduate student in computer science, the expectation is that you can pick up a programming language in a few weeks, and learning a new programming language because you're taking a class that uses that language is a skill that you pick up as a graduate student in computer science. An example, if you want to learn C++, the first MOOC of the Accelerated CS Fundamentals sequence is kind of a crash course in C++ using a compiled C++ environment, an IDE, an interactive development environment.
Okay. Next question. How do students apply for the online MCS or MCS-DS?
You go to choose.illinois.edu. I believe we have links at the end on how to do the application. You'll need to fill out the application. You're applying for a degree program at the University of Illinois, and it's the same procedure as applying for any other degree. You don't have to apply for the MCS-DS. There's a checkbox that says you want to pursue the data sciences for the DS version. And that checkbox is just a flag for our advisors. We have our advising team on the call with us, and they will use that checkbox to help advise you to selecting courses in that data science track of classes. If you complete the MCS-DS, you still get an ordinary Master of Computer Science degree. Your transcript says Master of Computer Science. Your degree says Master of Computer Science. But you can put MCS-DS on your resume, on LinkedIn. Employers know what the MCS-DS is. It's a well-known degree. We have employers that pay for their employees to get the MCS-DS because it's such a valuable data science degree. So that you can make that distinction there as opposed to worrying about it being on the transcript or the diploma.
Okay. What if,
hang on. A few more things while you're applying that are important. One, pay the application fee. We can't evaluate your application without that application fee to pay for the effort to look everything up. The second is there is room in the 5 prerequisite areas. You need to make sure that your application clearly spells out that you've taken data structures, algorithms, object-oriented programming, linear algebra, and statistics. You need to make sure that in that area, you're pointing to the specific section of your transcript that you upload that tells us where you've had that coursework. So include the course number, the course name, the grade you got, where you took the course, and when you took the course. The more clearer you can make that, the more reliably our application evaluators are going to be able to find that course and check that prerequisite off. That's one of the most important things you can do in your application, is make sure that we understand that you've completed those prerequisites.
Okay, perfect. Okay, next question. What if my undergraduate GPA is less than the 3.0 on a 4.0 scale?
Yeah, and in fact, we require a 3.2. There are things you can do. We'll be looking at the last 2 years of your bachelor's degree. We'll be looking at your GPA for CS coursework. You can also take additional courses, especially upper division CS courses that might be available at a local 4-year college or other educational institution. Take some additional CS courses. Show us that you can get you can complete senior level computer science courses and get an A in those courses, and we'll take that into consideration on your application. The important thing is that we don't want to admit anybody into the MCS program that doesn't have everything they need to succeed in this program. Our goal is that everybody completes and graduates and gets the degree. We don't want to admit anybody that is going to have to struggle and have a significant chance not to be able to complete the degree. So we just want to make sure that that as a student in graduate level coursework, you can get an A in each of these classes. The expectation for graduate students is that passing is a B or better. If you fall below a B average, that puts you on probation. I will say that students in our online courses complete the degrees slightly better than students on campus. And the number of students that end up going on probation in our online courses is at the same rate as our on-campus programs. But with that said, we don't want anybody going on probation because of poor coursework. And so at the graduate level, getting a C is like getting an F. We really need to see A-level work. Getting a B is like getting a C at the undergraduate level. Getting a B is the bare minimum that's going to get you through a graduate course, and you really need to keep a GPA greater than 3.0 to succeed in graduate coursework. I've seen the applications. I know you can all do that, but it's good to make sure everybody understands that expectation.
Okay. Do international students in these programs receive an I-20?
I don't know.
Let me take that. So the program is fully online. Like there is no requirement for any of the students to be on campus. Of course, when you graduate, we would like to see you on campus if you are able to make it for commencement. But because there's no educational component that is required to be completed on campus, the university does not offer I-20s for students in any of our fully online programs. That includes the MCS program and other online programs. So no I-20 will be issued. And then the second part to this question is, would I be able to, for example, use optional practical training experiences? And those are tied to having an I-20, so there would be no OPT or optional practical training opportunities as part of this program. However, what students who graduate out of the program could do is to look for other types of visas to secure employment in the US if that is something that you would wish to do once you have the degree, because this gives you an accredited credential. But within the program itself, there are no employment opportunities for international students once they graduate.
Okay. And then thanks, Viveka. Moving on to the next question. Will non-degree graduate students be able to take online MCS courses?
Yeah, yes. And so if you want to just take a few courses in the online MCS program, you can apply to be a non-degree grad student and complete 2 or 3 courses. However, all of our students in our 4-credit courses have to be able to maintain adequate progress towards getting through the courses. And so the admissions requirement in order to be admitted non-degree to be able to take those courses is the same criterion as being admitted for the degree program itself.
Okay.
Let me also add, at the University of Illinois, we take very serious our ability to serve our alumni for lifelong learning opportunities. When you complete the MCS degree, you are effectively admitted. You can apply, but you'll be automatically admitted for non-degree coursework. If there are any additional MCS courses that you want to take, once you take 8 courses, we're going to give you the MCS degree, whether you want it or not. You get the MCS degree, and then you can become a non-degree student and continue to take courses as new courses are launched. As you find you need further education in computer science, you're automatically admitted to be able to take those courses even after your MCS degree as an alum of the University of Illinois.
Okay. All right, just a couple more questions, and then we can move on to the Q&A. Is financial aid available for online MCS students?
Go ahead, Viveka.
You're muted.
Yes.
Okay.
So financial aid from the department will not be available to online students, because most of the types of student financial aid through assistantships are awarded to students who are on campus, because they are expected to either work directly with students or work with professors on campus. So no direct financial aid available through the department or the university. However, if you are a domestic student in the US, this program is an accredited program. You can look into student financial aid through the federal government. You can, regardless of where you are from, you can look into other private student loans. You can also look at other agencies that might provide financial resources by way of scholarships or fellowships. And then also, if you're employed in places where they support their employees to further their education, please do talk to your managers about the possibility to have some financial support. So there are other ways to look for financial support to so that you can complete the degree program. And we do encourage you to look at those options. And when you talk to whoever it is, please be sure to say that this is an accredited program that will earn you a graduate degree from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
Okay. And then the final question, when will applications for the next admission cycle open? That's actually addressed in this next slide. And as listed here, we have 3 entry points: fall, spring, and summer. The application for fall is May 30th with the decision deadline of July 15th. The application for spring, deadline is October 15th with a decision deadline of November 30th, and the application deadline for summer is February 15th with a decision deadline of March 31st. The URL is listed below here for this deadlines page. And as always, the decision deadline is the goal of when we try to release all decisions for admissions. However, sometimes it can take a few days longer to release some admission decisions if the application is being under further review. John, Viveka, anything to add to that? Nope. Okay. Yes? No. Okay. All right, and so then the last slide, where to find information. So here are all the URLs that we went over previously in the slide deck. So the application is found here. Program websites, there's 2 separate program websites, one for general online MCS and one for MCS-DS. Requirements by country, depending on where you receive your degrees. TOEFL and IELTS waiver information. And then the application deadlines. And certainly if you have any questions that are not addressed in this webinar, you can always email us at mcs@cs.illinois.edu and we will address your questions there. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my desktop. And then we'll go ahead and jump into the questions in the Q&A. Let's see. So first question, I'm not quite sure what that is referring to. So I'm just going to skip over that one. So then going on, so from Afzal, would I be able to be admitted into a PhD program based on the master's certificate, my current master plus your master's certificate?
Yeah, so there's a couple things to say on that. One is that we generally don't give a second master's degree in the same area. So if you already have a Master of Computer Science, some people have a Master's of Software Engineering, we don't want to give a second Master of Computer Science in that same area. But what we can do is if you complete all the coursework for the Master of Computer Science, we can issue a Master's Certificate. And that Master's Certificate is a document that recognizes that you've completed the coursework. We often see that, especially for students that have a master's in software engineering but want to get an additional credential for their master's level work in data sciences. So that's an option. If you want to pursue a PhD, many PhD programs don't require a master's degree beforehand. I know that for our PhD program, what we're really looking for is some exposure to research and publication. So if you have the opportunity to perform research with a research advisor in an undergraduate or some other capacity, that's your best option for getting into a PhD program. The Master of Computer Science is designed for professional practice, and it consists only of courses. It's 8 courses. Each of the courses will bring you up to the state of the art in a field, and that includes research papers, but it does not include the ability to research. And so for that, I'd recommend maybe working with an advisor in something like a Master of Science program as opposed to an MCS program. Getting a Master of Computer Science is not a terminal degree in that you can continue on and get a PhD if you want. But the MCS is really targeted for people that want to practice computer science as opposed to continuing on for research-based degree.
Okay. Next question. Is the data structures proficiency exam enough to prove programming knowledge if the prerequisites are not met?
It's enough to prove the data structures knowledge. We would still want to see some additional programming CS coursework. We'd still want to see proficiency in linear algebra and statistics and probability. It's really designed just to clear that data structures prerequisite. That's often a prerequisite that's missing from many students' applications that don't have a computing bachelor's degree.
Okay. Next question.
Computers, yeah.
I didn't get the comment about the prereqs. Can we satisfy the prereq requirements by taking courses on Coursera?
No. We've tried to do that in the past. What we really need to see is a transcripted grade. As I mentioned before, a MOOC, you may learn everything you need to from a MOOC, but we don't get the assessment from the MOOC. A MOOC is similar to sitting in on a class. It doesn't give you the transcripted grade at the level of assessment we need to establish that you've got that prerequisite knowledge. So the learning is there. It's really the assessment that we don't have, and so we really want to see a transcripted grade of B or better in these areas in order to admit.
Okay. Here's a good question. Can a good master's GPA substitute for a bad undergraduate GPA?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Next question, Michael. Also a really good question. Can you explain what the transition is like from a Coursera specialization in data mining and cloud computing? For example, how much of the coursework is complete and counted for in credit, and what is the online MCS-DS course load hours expectations once in the program?
Yeah. So each of our courses is 4 credit hours. That will take you about 12 hours a week to complete our courses over a 15-week semester. That's significantly more than might be needed to complete a MOOC. A MOOC will consist of the lectures, some quizzes, maybe some peer-graded exercises, the homeworks, the programming projects, the machine problems, as well as the proctored examinations are additional material that you wouldn't have been exposed to. You may not need to sit through the same lectures again, but there may be some additional or updated lecture material as well in the 4 credit course.
Okay. Let's see. Regarding the curriculum, I'm interested in DS as well as high performance computing. How can I have this mix?
That's great. You have access to all the same data science courses, but you don't need to complete the MCS using the data science courses. We have the University of Illinois is quite well known for high performance computing. We have some of the experts that have developed MPI and many of the and Charm++, many of the underlying tools for parallel computing, even CUDA with Wenmei Hu. And so we have a really good parallel programming course taught by Sanjay Kali. We've got a really good numerical methods course taught by Michael Heath that is on scientific computing. It's numerical analysis, but it's really a scientific computing course taught by Mike Heath, who wrote the book on scientific computing for using parallel algorithms. And we've got other courses on parallel, on programming languages. We are working on the development of a course on parallel programming languages by the inventor of LLVM. So we have quite an extensive offering of courses beyond data sciences that you're certainly open to. That would be a strong component of an MCS degree, as well as the ability to take those courses along with data science courses to have a nice combination of high performance data structures.
Okay, let's see. Next question. I've completed over 100 MOOCs. I'm a Kaggle expert, ranked in the top 400 for ML competitions, but didn't take any programming in undergrad. I guess the question is, are they eligible to apply?
So that sounds really impressive. We will evaluate that, but we also need to make sure that your prerequisite knowledge isn't too narrow. And so having the ability to show a graded credit-bearing transcripted course in data structures will really be necessary for us to make sure that you've got the full breadth of knowledge and background. So that I think you do just fine in our machine learning courses, but we also need to make sure you do well in our programming courses, cloud computing courses, and other coursework that we may have. That's that may be beyond machine learning.
Okay, next question is from Ethan. I believe you said that the data structures proficiency exam additionally covers linear algebra and basic stats. Is there a recommended MOOC or series of MOOCs that you would recommend as a refresher on these topics in the same way that accelerated fundamentals refreshes on computing fundamentals?
So in order to clear that proficiency, we will consider looking at specialization sequences for linear algebra and probability and stats. We have a course, Stats for 20, that is available for students to help brush up on probability and stats, but it's good to have a background in probability and stats coming in. We will look at specialization sequences for linear algebra and probability stats. But for the accelerated CS fundamentals sequence, taking the specialization does not clear the proficiency. We really need the proficiency exam in order to do that. And that's the only subject that we really offer a proficiency exam for. And we would need to see something transcripted and graded for data structures, algorithms, and object-oriented programming, general CS coursework.
Okay. Michael has a follow-up question. And does the course availability once on the program for the online students follow the schedule displayed on the website and be completed generally in 1 year?
Yes, all of our courses are offered once per calendar year, and we post that schedule of courses. Those courses are subject to availability of the instructor. We want to make sure when we offer a course, we're offering it with an appropriate instructor. That's true for our online courses as well as our on-campus courses. So in some years, that subject can be subject to change. We always encourage students to work with the advisors. It's always best to, if you know what courses you want to take, you can pick 8 courses to complete your degree, work with your advisor to fill out that schedule. We always look at those schedules to make sure that our offerings of courses are designed to make sure everybody completes in his desired amount of time. And absolutely, we've got everything on in the program offered sufficiently that anybody can complete this degree in 1 year. So long as you can take, for example, 3 courses in the fall, 3 courses in the spring, and 2 courses in the summer.
Okay. Next question. For statistics prereq requirement, is a 100 level statistics course satisfactory?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Vivica,
Okay.
is that fine?
I want to say you could certainly take some of the classes. For example, we have one class that's an advanced Bayesian modeling class for which you would most likely need something more than a 100 level class, and probably at a 400 level statistics class. But this again is you can work with the advisors to see what you have and what your interests are and figure out which classes you would be selecting.
Yeah, and we have Stat 420 available in the program as an elective that you could take to prepare for other classes. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Next question from Stefan. Okay, following up on the response, are other online MOOC with certificate, i.e. MicroMaster, suitable to meet the prerequisites? I do not reside in the US. It would only be able and would be my best option. Also, I missed the beginning of the Q&A. Can you mention again where I can find the prerequisites?
Yeah, the prerequisites are on the application form. They're data structures, algorithms, object-oriented programming, linear algebra, and probability statistics. If you want to clear those with like a MicroMasters or some other degree, as long as you get transcripted, graded credit for that, then we will look at that as clearing the prerequisite. But we really need something on the transcript reflecting a grade. in order for us to make sure that you've got the proficiency in that area.
Okay. Next question. During the master certificate program, would I be able to complete some of the research work and publish that work? Again, keeping the final goal for being admitted to a PhD.
Unfortunately, the online MCS program does not pair you up with an advisor. For that, I'd recommend a Master of Science program, but our Master of Science program is an on-campus program. We really don't have the structure in the MCS program for you to work with an advisor on publishable research. With that said, you can complete the 8 courses, and while you're completing those 8 courses, if you want to, work on published research on your own, that's fine. But there's, some of our students may work with a professor, but that's entirely up to the professor and the faculty of the department. And in general, the faculty in our department don't work with Master of Computer Science students on research projects. That's something that that's more the focus of our MS and PhD degrees.
Okay. I have a master's degree in mechanical engineering and have been in IT for over 20 years with experience in object-oriented programming, cloud computing, data structures, etc. Do I still have to take data structures classes to prove proficiency?
Right. You could pass the proficiency exam to show that you've got the proficiency in data structures. You're a manager or some superior that can write a letter of recommendation that specifically speaks to your abilities in algorithm analysis and object-oriented programming would be helpful in that case. We'll take that all under consideration.
Okay. And last question. In short, if I have no undergraduate computing coursework, it is strongly recommended that I supplement with transcripted coursework instead of MOOC certificates.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the answer to that question is yes. I will say that we are developing specifically for students that don't have a background in computing, that have no coursework in computing, but have a bachelor's degree in some other area. We are developing an on-ramp of courses that will be available eventually online in a year or two, designed for you. But waiting a year or two to apply might not work for everybody's schedule. So, while we're developing that, the better alternative for you right now is to take a few courses. Take courses in object-oriented programming, data structures, algorithms, and other coursework in computer science from a local, from a local institution, and then submit that transcript, and would be, you can basically do your own on-ramp program that way.
Okay. Looks like that was the last question. If anybody, if you have some questions that pop up after the session is over, again, you can email us at mcs@cs.illinois.edu, and we're happy to answer those questions there. Otherwise, this session is a wrap. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be having another session next month. It's the first Wednesday of every month. And then if you have questions at any time and you can't submit an email, or you prefer to talk to someone in person, the team of advisors do hold a live advising session every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Time. And that session link is provided in the FAQ website. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Good questions. Looking forward to your applications.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.